everybody, The Last Jedi has happened. It's happened. It exists in the universe.
It's so crazy.
Wow. I'm going to preface this video with the very obvious. We are going to be talking about plot points and spoilers. Spoiler warning. I'm going to put it all over this video. It's all over the place. So if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, please, please close that tab. It goes against my job to ask.
What are you doing if you haven't seen it yet?
What are you doing, by the way?
Yeah, you clicked on this video.
You clicked on this video. It says spoiler on it. So that's all the warnings. There you go. Yeah, so we're going to be deep diving into everything about The Last Jedi, and here to join me, my guest and best friend, Jermaine Lussier.
Ash, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm very excited. It's been a long wait for this movie, and we saw it last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. Time flies when you're having fun.
We were at the premiere.
And now, but now we could finally talk about it because we had like a bunch of days where we couldn't say anything to the world.
No.
And now we could say it to the whole world.
So we both saw it at the premiere. We kind of went up to each other at the after party, and we were just kind of like...
It's so much.
I didn't know what to say.
My mind, I felt like I'd eaten a full meal, which is something I do often, and it was just, I was too much. It was so much happens in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to just let's piece by piece this thing.
There's my life before and after The Last Jedi.
Well, that's the thing about these movies, right? Is that we're such fans that it's like when you see a new one, it's like your life does change because the story up until this point ended with Luke Skywalker on that cliff.
Yes.
Now it ends with Luke Skywalker's dead. Like, now everything's changed. It's changed now.
Everything has changed.
Your life has changed because as a Star Wars fan now, the whole story has a new chapter.
Let's start with the Rey and Luke dynamic because that's where we picked up, sort of, at least in the story.
Right.
Because it was pretty funny to me. Like, I think I expected Luke to be a little... I mean, he was dark, but he was just kind of like, no way.
He throws. It sort of is. That's the moment where you realize this is not the movie you're expecting it to be.
Yeah.
When he takes that lightsaber, you've been waiting 2 years to see what he does. The lightsaber that was his father's. It's been lost for 40 years, and he throws it over his shoulder. You're like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
And you expected him to be like, oh, Rey, you're strong with the Force. Let's do that. Like, let me train you and make you a Jedi. But he has no interest in that. And then she has to like follow him around like he's this weird hermit, killing animals and like doing these like cliff crimes. It's crazy.
The weird like milk.
Yeah, the four nipples. Hashtag four nipples. So crazy.
Grossed me out so bad. And then of course the porgs are there.
Yeah, but I like the dynamic because it's so different. Because eventually he realizes that she is somebody special, and so he does begrudgingly try to teach her, but in her own way. His own way is he says, "I'm going to teach you 3 lessons. I'm going to teach you why the Jedi have to go away." And you're like, "Whoa, okay." And that's just so different. He's not like, like Yoda trained him, or Obi-Wan trained Anakin, etc. Like it's a totally different thing with like this end game, and it's crazy surprising.
While this is all happening, we keep going back to Leia and Poe and Holdo.
Yes.
And all these guys, getting beat up, basically nowhere to go. They're running out of fuel. But I thought it was like, I wanted to see more Poe from Force Awakens. And then we see this Poe that is just like, thinks he knows everything. He's so cocky.
I love it.
And he just knows nothing.
But we don't know that. At the beginning, we don't. Like, he doesn't trust Holdo. But, I mean, that's one of my problems with the movie. Small problems is, I mean, Holdo obviously is a strong leader. I really like the character. But why didn't she just tell him? Be like, hey, I have this plan. Don't worry. He gives her the opportunity, every opportunity to say, do we have a plan? And she's like, no, not really. But she has a great plan. The plan is to get to Crate, but she doesn't tell. She could have just told him and solved so many things. I mean, that makes there's not a movie then.
Yeah. I feel like it was more of just like a power play, too, of just being like, you're not...
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have a ranking that, like, I don't need to tell you anything. You need to trust me.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. You sit down.
Yeah, Leia demoted you right before she died / came back to life. And again, that's another one of those weird moments where the movie, you're like, this is not going to be the movie.
No.
Where I thought she was dead. Because Carrie Fisher obviously passed away.
Right.
And Rian Johnson has said she survives through the movie, but then she's out there and she gets the Star-Lord face from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's like exactly what it was.
And you're like, oh my God, she's dead. And I was like getting all cry. And then you get like this like moment where she like flies back.
Force flies through space.
I don't know.
I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how people I don't know how everyone feels about it yet, really, but I liked it and like hated it at the same time.
I agree.
Because I was like, I'm so excited to see Leia use the Force on screen, like for real, for the first time besides like sensing Luke.
Yeah.
It was just like I started crying, but then I was like, this is
kind of weird, but that's this movie. Like it's everything about it is weird. Everything we expect to happen in a Star Wars movie, Luke's just going to train Rey. Leia's going to die. in space because none of it happens, you know? And then
Yeah.
the stuff later we're going to talk about with Snoke and Kylo and Rey, none of what you expect to happen happens. And I love that about it.
Let's go to Finn and Rose. So here's the thing. I always thought that Poe was like the Han, but now sometimes I think it's Finn. Because Finn's the one that's like reluctantly keeps trying to leave. And they're like, oh, you're taking your prize and going. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I'm really trying to leave.
Yeah.
And everyone just pulls him back in one by one. They're just like, no, you can't leave. You can't leave.
Yeah.
Because he loves the ladies.
He does love
That
the
Finn.
ladies, which is, I guess, is a reveal because everyone wants him to be with Poe.
Yeah.
We still are not sure about Poe. What if he loves the ladies or the boys or anybody or the four-nippled weird things on Act 2?
Maybe.
Poe could like it all. Yeah, I like the Rose and Finn dynamic because, again, it's different. You know, she's like a fan of his. Like you said, he's like reluctant. He gets pushed on this mission only because he has these information. But I think, while I love both Boyega and Marie Tran
Yeah.
in it and their chemistry, that storyline is so pointless.
I agree with you. I could have totally done without Canto Bight. And I was really
But
excited
I love,
for Canto Bight.
but I love it. I love they plan it.
Yeah.
And the
I loved,
aliens,
yeah,
yeah.
I loved everything about it. Like, I read like half of the Canto Bight book before seeing the movie, and I was like, I'm really interested in it. Like, it's essentially Vegas. It's very cool. But then, and there's like a shot in there that's really beautiful, like when they first like come into Canto Bight.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and well, it's basically, you know, narratively, it doesn't end up playing off because DJ, who's Benicio del Toro's character, you know, flips on them, and they don't need the code anyway because Holdo is going to kill herself. But it is crucial for two reasons. One, it gives you this really interesting thematic thing about like warmongering
Yeah.
and like how you profit in the Star Wars universe, which is never something we've really seen. We've never seen rich people in the Star Wars universe. Like, besides, like, you know, I guess we have like a Naboo here and there. You know?
Yeah, but this is like,
These are these are the fat cats, you
Yeah.
know, and the fact that they sell to the First Order and the Resistance really it gives you this like complex little thing, nugget to chew on,
Right.
in the middle of the movie, which I like, and also that's where the kids are, that come back at the end.
yes.
So you need to introduce them. You need to introduce Broom Kid, you know, Broom Kid, which is the last shot of the movie.
I did kind of like, because in Force Awakens, I felt like everything was going so right. Like, it
Yeah.
was just like, here's our plan. There's got to be a hole, right? It's like a Death Star.
Yes.
They're like, yes, there is. I know. Let's blow it up. You can blow it up, right? Yeah, we can blow it up. And everything just goes swimmingly.
Perfect.
And the only thing I kind of liked about the Canto Bight thing was just like, it didn't work out at all.
That's true. That's a great point because, so yeah, if you take it and just sort of compartmentalize it like that, it's apropos of the movie where it's like everything is not what you expect.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't amount to anything is kind of perfect in the whole thing of the movie. So that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. I did want to go back. That's what I remember. The Leia thing, right? The Leia
Right.
Force thing.
Right.
In that scene, you know, she gets back, but then later they're like, "Oh, everybody else on the bridge died. Like Akbar died," and you're like,
Yes!
You're like, Akbar's been this major character throughout the entire since Jedi." And then they kill him unceremoniously and just mention it.
You know what's funny? I didn't even hear it or like remember it until afterwards somebody mentioned, they're like, yeah, Akbar dies. I think it might have been you. And I was
Yeah.
just like, what?
Yeah, because you expect him to have like a little bit of a death, you know?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, there's also like Greg Grunberg's character from the first movie, Snap Wexley, doesn't come back. And you're like, oh, well, is he dead? And he's actually really important because he's the main character or like the third main character in the Aftermath series.
Okay, yeah.
So you're like, oh man, well, what happened to him? And then I guess, and this is real Star Wars nerd stuff, I guess in the visual dictionary, as somebody was showing me, there's a little thing that says, many of the starfighters who were with Poe on Starkiller Base were off on separate missions during this time.
Okay.
So even though they tell us in the movie that that's the whole rest of the Resistance, like 14 times, there's only 400 of us, there's only 100 of us. Other people were out in different places. So don't worry. Greg Grunberg can come back.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Wow, it is.
Greg Grunberg. Grunny. Let's call him Grunny.
Grunny's coming back.
Grunny will be back.
Grunny is coming back. Holdo, Lightspeed kamikazing.
Yeah. That was a... Holdo killing himself was amazing because not only is it an intense, great character moment, it happened simultaneously with Phasma dying.
Oh my God.
What a waste.
What a waste.
Cool action scene in this movie. I forgot she was in the movie until she showed up. I'm like,
You just brought it up, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that's right, Phasma.
Yeah.
I named my dog Phasma, so
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, your dog has been around for infinitely more time than Phasma has been around.
Seriously. Just had more moments.
Yeah. But that moment of tension where Holdo's doing this, they're trying to get away. I can't even remember so many things are happening in that moment.
Right.
That it's so exciting. It's such a perfect moment for her. And it stinks that she's gone, because she was a very strong leader. And like you made some great points earlier about her just putting Poe at arm's distance.
Yeah.
She was. Yeah, it's such a cool moment, and it's very, again, I don't think we've seen really that in Star Wars. I mean, we've seen like A-wing fighters run into Star Destroyers and stuff. You know,
Right.
They're going to go down and they use their last moment. But for her to so consciously do that it's a great sci-fi moment. We've seen it before, but never with the light speed.
Right.
And never that you take down this huge thing, Snoke ship. So cool.
Again, that's just like a thing that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
Just like you can just light speed through things.
Yeah, if you can light speed out with the Millennium Falcon in the last movie, why can't we do this? You know, like let's use this incredible power in a new way. And that's the whole movie. You know, it's like we have this, a ship can go the speed of light. Let's not just use that to like go fast. Let's use it as a weapon. That's so different and cool. And like I said, it's just disappointing that means Holdo's gone. But her death also is sort of it makes the Resistance that more desperate at the end.
Right. We have to just get to this because it's like in the back of my head this whole time is when Rey gets to Snoke.
Yeah.
/ Kylo.
Yeah.
And they're like, they've been like force connecting them this whole time, which
I
is
call it, yeah, go ahead.
No, what do you call it?
The Reylo Skype sessions.
Because it's like, I love it about this movie, but I think it's the hardest for me to wrap my head around it is just that, like this aspect of the Force that I just had no idea existed.
There's a bunch of that.
And there's so much of that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, that's why I'm so excited for Rian Johnson to do a whole new trilogy,
Yeah.
because he just gets it more than I can even wrap my head around.
Because everyone else has sort of played it safe. And I love The Force Awakens, but that movie is very safe, like you said. Everything sort of works out. Everything's kind of what you expect it to be. And he's like, we live in a universe where there's talking slugs, laser swords, and hyperspace. Can I, make them talk via the Force? Yeah, it's like, can I have Luke hologram project himself onto another planet? Yeah. Like, why not? The Force can do anything.
Yeah.
Right? If you have the power of it like a Jedi, you can do anything. So that's Rian Johnson's really like, it's like he took out, everybody else is going like 65, going the speed limit.
Yeah.
He was just pedal to the metal.
Because
with
up
it.
until this point, I'm like, the Force is like essentially like Matilda, you can
Yeah, exactly.
move
Yeah, it's a touch screen.
It's not just moving rocks, as they say.
Right, they say in the movie. Yeah, yeah.
In the movie. Yeah.
But the Snoke thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they have their Skype sessions and Snoke's connecting them and they get in there and I don't know if I've ever been that mind blown in a Star Wars movie.
No.
I mean, I guess you can argue like the Empire Father moment, but for me, I had already known that was like a pop culture phenomenon
Yeah.
by the time I saw Empire. So that was just such a crazy moment because it was so good.
We're talking about Snoke being killed, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because he's the main bad guy. And we waited 2 years to see him in the flesh and to find out who he is, where'd he come from. And then, like, the third scene he's in, Kylo Ren kills him. And then it goes to this, like, insane slow-mo back-to-back samurai shot.
Oh, my God.
And I lost it. I was so excited. It was, again, so awesome and exciting. And also so surprising because, like you said, that's like they killed the Emperor in the second movie. It's like, it's crazy.
It was just literally anything you thought was going to happen. They were just like, nope.
Yeah.
And even if you could predict what would happen, you could never predict how they would get there.
Right. Like, yeah, he's going to kill him with Anakin's saber, and then they're going to have this huge samurai fight. And
be
they're
like,
going to
cool.
Cool. They're going to put a saber, like, through someone's head. Never done that before.
No.
And, like, you can do all these things. Oh, and then Kylo's going to, like, shame Rey into, like, saying she knows who her parents are. And they're no one. So all the theories that all these fans had for 2 years about who Snoke is and who Rey's parents are, he's dead and they're no one. So
And they're no one.
Get the hell out.
That was the only thing that I felt like mildly fan servicey because they kept saying like, show me who my parents are.
Yeah.
I know who your parents are. Let's talk about your parents.
There's the whole moment
and
in
I'm
the
sitting
cave.
there like, who are they?
I feel like it really feels like Ryan really understood the fan reaction to the first movie because even like the Porgs, right? Like the Porgs are cute in the movie, but then there's the scene where Chewie almost eats a Porg, right? And I feel like that had to be I'm sure it was in the script because Ryan, like I said, he understood it. But it easily could have been like just put in later when he saw the fans love the Porgs. He wanted more cute Porg shots and he wanted that tension of will somebody eat a porg, because that didn't really become a thing until like, you know, you started like hashtag Porg Nation. Like it became a thing, and it's in the movie. How is it in the movie? He just understands it.
I need to interview him and ask him when exactly that was put in, because at this moment in time, I am convinced
It's a late 8 edition, right? I'm convinced too. I don't
that
think...
was just like, these people are all talking about cooking porgs.
Yeah, and you get these shots of the cute porg shots. You get these like adorable porg shots. Yeah, like, meow, meow. And you're like, oh man, somebody's gonna like gift that me doing a porg noise now. But it was like,
now they are.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like that, like you said with the Snoke stuff, with the Rey stuff, you finally get to see Luke like show down with the First Order, which is again, these are all things we kind of expected in the first one, didn't get, and he just like wipes the slate clean. To me, this movie could have been either 7 or 9, because it's a great palate cleanser to start the story, but also is kind of a nice closure to the story, right? So
Right.
everybody, the resistance is in shambles. The First Order is kind of in shambles. They're still powerful, but they got this new leader. He's a madman. You know, like you could have ended it there with the hope of a little kid and the resistance coming back. You know, or you could have started it there. It's almost like I was like, oh man, like I wish there was 2 more movies in this trilogy, because now I don't like The Force Awakens less, but maybe I do. I'm not really sure.
I'm not really sure either, and I totally feel
I've seen
you.
it like, you know, 15 times. I've seen this one twice, you know, so
Right.
I need more time
Yeah.
to like figure it out.
Yeah, I think it took me a solid like 4 times with Force Awakens before I was finally like able to decide how I truly felt about
Agreed,
it. And
agreed.
even still, I'm still trying to figure it out. I want to talk about the Luke thing too, because
Yeah.
that was very mind-blowing, because he shows up on Crate, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, he got a haircut, he like looks a little younger.
Yeah, yeah. And like,
when
why
did
why does he have Luke? Why does he have the saber that was destroyed like 3 scenes ago?
That was the moment where I was like, something's up, but I
Right.
couldn't exactly figure out what it was. And what was in my head, I thought he was dead, and I thought he was like some kind of Force ghost or something, because he like lit up the blue saber, and I was like, did Ryan just totally mess that up,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
what happened?
It's too iconic. Yeah, that's the moment where it struck to me that something was wrong. But at the same time, I just was like, maybe he made a new one. Maybe that wasn't the saber.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll find out. If we don't find out, it's a big thing, you know.
I was thinking about Steel during that moment too, because he's been like, ignite the green. You see Luke take it out,
Boom.
blue.
Yeah. And it's the only time we get to see him with the saber, and he's not even really there. It's kind of a letdown, but it's kind of interesting for Luke's journey, because Luke is not that guy anymore. He presents himself as that guy to help the resistance, help his sister.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then he's like, I have served my purpose here. I have put the people that need to be together. Peace out, you know? And he's got to come back as a Force ghost. Mark Hamill is still on his diet, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Kathleen Kennedy was saying, you know, episode 9 would have been Carrie Fisher's movie. And I feel like now that there's really not any legends to be in that movie, I feel like they'll definitely bring Luke into it.
Yeah, either way, right?
Either way.
Yeah.
If they weren't going to, they're definitely going to now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably, I mean, yeah, I mean, with Carrie Fisher passing and then Luke dying at the end of this movie, you can understand why episode 9 has had all these struggles. This movie, it's way more wide open than the other ones. Like, I think episode 9 will probably start 10 or 15 years later, like a much bigger time jump, because if you start right there, there's way too much to do. But if you start it with like Rey has been like learning more about the Force, passing on a little bit of what she's learned, the Resistance is kind of back. Broom Kid is now can be cast as like a 20-year-old actor, a famous actor, and you start at Leia's funeral. She passed away, and now everyone's there, and then like the story starts. That, like, to me, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of immediately what I thought of, because it is such an open ending with, you know, and with Leia still alive,
Right.
and Luke gone. It's tough. I mean, I don't envy J.J. Abrams having to tell the rest of the story, because Rian Johnson just crushed it.
Just
so hard.
shook it up and is
Oh
handing
my
it
God.
back to
yeah,
him.
he's handing them like a Coke can that's like been shaken up. It's like, you can open it.
You can open this or not?
Yeah, pop right in your face.
Do it. You have to. Would you have rather seen Rian Johnson do episode 9, or are you excited for it to be JJ? Like, how do you feel about that?
After this, I wish Ryan had continued his story, but I think because he's doing his new trilogy, he'll be around the office.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he'll visit set, he'll have input, and JJ's an amazing filmmaker. There's like no ifs, ands, or buts about it, you know? He understands nostalgia, he understands epic action and all these things. He's going to make a great movie. It's just not going to be a Rian Johnson movie, but thankfully we do get more Rian Johnson movies at some point. Yeah, I mean, like after seeing 8, I kind of wish Rian had done like the whole trilogy, because as great as Force Awakens is, as nostalgic and hitting those notes is, The Last Jedi is what I wanted Episode 7 to be, where I walked in being like, I'm seeing a Star Wars movie, and I walked out and I said, no, now I'm seeing a different kind of Star Wars movie, because this was the first one, even counting Rogue One, that's a different Star Wars movie to me.
I totally agree. It's like Kathleen Kennedy was saying, you know, at the junket and stuff, she was like, oh, I knew immediately that I wanted Rian Johnson to do his own thing and do his own trilogy. And you can totally see why, because his imagination is just wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, JJ was involved in 8, so it's not like he doesn't know what's going on and he's just walking in and being like,
oh, right,
what's
exactly.
going on?
He's an executive producer. He's there. I mean, but he had no creative input. He just got a paycheck, you know?
Right.
So it'll be interesting. I think he's going to do a great job. And then Ryan can go off and change what a Star Wars movie means, you know? And that's really exciting. And people are going to say, like, oh, his trilogy is going to star the little kid at the end of the movie. It's like, no, I don't think so. I think it's going to be like everything. This movie is so unexpected, and I think that's going to be whatever you expect, completely different, because that's the kind of movie he makes.
Yeah, and well, people keep being like, do you think it's going to be, you know, like Knights of the Old Republic, or they keep, you know, pulling these things out of Legends. I'm like, I don't think it's going to be any of that.
No.
I think it's going to be something like, and they've kind of said this, it's going to be something we never even heard of, or can't even think of.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to sort of follow it as he sort of, they drop little hints or titles or cast people, and we sort of start to make a movie in our mind, like we did with this one. And then when we sit down for it, and it's not anything.
It's just going to blow us out of the water. Final thing I wanted to talk about is the ending of Luke, because I thought it was so perfect to start his journey and end his journey with a binary sunset.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. And for him to help everybody in that way, in such a badass way too. Like those scenes with him and Kylo and Luke standing, and you see like all these, you know, the new walkers. Like I was like, this is what I imagined would happen after Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker, being the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, would be able to destroy an entire army by himself. And like he sets up for that. He doesn't, but again, he spins it. And yeah, like I'm still curious if we're going to learn more about how he sort of goes. But it was beautiful. It was very beautiful and very perfect in that moment. And the way Rey and Leia sort of process it was very, very nice.
Right.
And again, even after 2 viewings, it's something though that I'm still sort of struggling with. That there's no more Luke Skywalker.
There's no more Luke. It was like, to me, it was just like he was using so much of the Force that it was like his last.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out, did he Jedi mind trick him, or did they was he actually? I guess he was actually there. He like touched people, right?
Yeah.
He handed off the Han's dice.
It was just like it was like an astral projection thing. I don't know.
It's one of those things, like you said, that it's something that we've never seen the Force do before.
Right.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Okay, well, yeah, that's like our surface level reaction to The Last Jedi. I feel like it's going to be one of those ones where we're going to be talking about it for days, weeks, months, years, decades.
We could have done videos on each one of those points.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And I'm sure we're going to.
Yeah, and I'm sure if related to this, you'll find plenty of people who have. You know? Like, such a dense movie, such a great movie.
Yeah, there's so much to dissect.
Yeah, and Ryan, you killed it, man.
You killed it, Ryan.
Awesome.
Killed a lot of people, too.
Yeah, sure he did. Yeah, apropos word.
Akbar, justice for Akbar. Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We'll keep talking about this on text, phone, more videos.
Exactly. I'm ready to go. All Star Wars all day.
Well, let everyone know where they can find your work.
Yeah, I write for IO9 and Gizmodo. You can find my stuff there, and on Twitter, Instagram, everything, and at Jermaine Lucier.
He's my best friend.
Thanks for having me, Ash.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.